So a lot of questions that people bring up, and what is a fear among a lot of women, is vaccine safety for what if I want to get pregnant, or what if I'm currently pregnant. Could you talk a little bit about the safety concerns for pregnant women or women who want to be pregnant?
Sure, absolutely. So I will just start off with a qualifying statement that this is absolutely a safe and effective vaccine for childbearing women, pregnant women, lactating women. The decades and decades of experienced medical professionals for the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecologists, the Society for Maternal Fetal Medicine have came out with joint statements strongly advocating for pregnant women to become vaccinated. Mm-hmm. And then on the flip side, because in individually or from a group standpoint, we tend to operate in a risk benefit. Mm-hmm. So why would I get the vaccine if I'm otherwise healthy? I'm only pregnant. But what we know is respiratory viruses can create quite a risk for pregnant women. From anything from hospitalization risk to the mother to risk to the baby and development. I found it interesting. There was a JAMA article, which is the Journal for American Medical Association, that was published here recently. Pregnant women contracting COVID are 15 times more likely to die, wow. 14 times more likely to be intubated, and 22 times more likely to have a preterm birth than those who are uninfected.
Wow. That's
those numbers are staggering. I've never seen anything like that. And so if we're going to operate from a risk benefit standpoint, the risk of vaccines in pregnant women has been proven to be statistically no different than the risk to you or I or a woman of childbearing age mm-hmm. in any way. It puts a huge exclamation mark, caps, bolded, everything that you can think of on the misinformation that is out there. Mm-hmm. Because misinformation started right out of the gate with the vaccine coming out that it wasn't studied in childbearing women. It wasn't studied in pregnant women. So how can you be sure?
Right.
And the fact is that not only is it safe and effective, but the risk of contracting COVID is extremely risky. And so this is a potential protection that we can take part in. And when ACOG and maternal fetal medicine put out that joint statement, I found it interesting that they did a retrospective review. Tens of thousands of pregnant women have been vaccinated during this EUA process, and they have not found any significant risk to that population. So the argument that I'm otherwise healthy is really debunked. Mm-hmm. The argument that it wasn't studied in pregnant women or women of childbearing age is now debunked because we've given millions of doses and tens of thousands to a pregnant population. There's a joint statement from the trusted medical professionals that this population also trusts when they tell them to take their prenatal vitamin or when to see an OB and ultrasounds and every other aspect of the pregnancy. But misinformation has misguided this so far. It's honestly, it's quite baffling to me to see how it's misled that so far. And when I saw that JAMA information, that just really ties it all together to say the story that's out there is not the story that primary literature is proving to be true. And it's Russian roulette with your life. If you're in that category and not getting vaccinated, my advice is not to be around people, because the risk is that if you do become infected with COVID, that you could have a very serious outcome.
Mm-hmm. And I've seen online just of people saying that the vaccine will cause miscarriages and stuff, or will create complications of getting pregnant. None of that is true.
There's been no scientific data to support any of that.
Right.
I think what happens is as human nature, we know somebody that knows somebody, and one individual had an outcome.
Mm-hmm.
But an individual wins the lottery.
Mm-hmm.
An individual gets struck by lightning. And we don't immediately apply that to next time I walk outside, I'm going to get struck by lightning.
Right.
Or I'm going to go buy a ticket and I'm guaranteed I'm going to win the lottery because I know somebody that won the lottery.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we often think about things in odds, and that in the medical world turns into that risk benefit. And so when you hear those things, I'm not denoting that maybe that happened in a pregnant woman had a miscarriage.
Mm-hmm.
But there is no scientific data in any way that ties that to the vaccine.
Okay.
And so if a vaccinated pregnant woman has a miscarriage, it doesn't mean it was the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
It could be idiopathic, meaning there's no explanation, that it just simply happened.
Mm-hmm.
There could be other factors in that with, environmental factors. You just don't know the situation.
Right.
But the direct correlation to tie that to the vaccine is not there.
This was a clip of the Good Samaritan Healthcast. If you want to hear more of what you just heard, just head on over to gshvin.org/healthcast.